Paspalum is somewhat a native turf that was grown seaside. It's been incorporated in the residential, commercial side, and obviously the golf course side now. Paspalum, it's Hawaii's Poa Annua. Somewhat of an invasive, unwanted, undesired plant. When you can't beat it, you got to join it, and you try to promote it. Not too many courses, ever wanted Poa Annua in their bent greens in the beginning, but as they try to fight it for 5 years, it ends up they're trying to make them 100% Poa Annua and start controlling the seed head, and you can have some great Poa Annua greens. This is as good as any here. This was an originally seeded golf course in general with common Bermuda, with my research done. Over the years, they incorporated Paspalum into the greens. Approaches, as we can look back at the approaches, they look to be pretty much, 100%. At about 50 yards in, you got the nice flashy green grass, and all the way down here. And then also on tees is pretty much 100%. So fairways are hit and miss, and you can see how we've been targeting some of the spots here, as we have our Bermuda here, and then obviously there's a patch this patch here is Paspalum. So most of the areas that we still have left to incorporate with Paspalum are majority higher areas. A lot of the lower areas, a little more saturation, have filled in pretty good. So, we could say this might have been 2 plugs 2 years ago. Here's probably more of a recent plug that's kind of, and we're talking just a cup cutter plug, so, and between all these little different patches, that is kind of the passive way of how we're trying to convert, the fairways into 100% Paspalum. Is there more ways to do it? Absolutely. You could come in and verticut a lot, try some of the Paspalum seeds, which have not really proven very viable on the seed yet, along with trying to resprig, but all those come with more cost factors as it is to just keep taking plugs from where we can. I utilize my brackish water a little bit to somewhat retard the Bermuda, to allow the Paspalum to be able to, have more takeover power than the Bermuda. On the downside, we do a lot of cultural practices, which also promote some of the Bermuda that's still in there. So it's a real balancing act of how, we can get this patchiness taken out in the years to come. And I think we'll have, a much more high value product if aesthetically, we were closer to being one more monostrand of turf. I'm finding my problem is typically nut grasses in most places are going to be in your low saturated areas. But yet here, we're getting them up on the slopes, and really it's just, the density of having warm season grass that is just, you can see how moist this wants to stay with the way this Paspalum is. The answer would be to try to dethatch this whole place, but, we'd be looking at a 2 to 3 month recovery on that no one's really willing to, go that far on the revenue aspect, or, being able to educate the customer in the fact of why we're, brown for 3 months. So it's a perfect environment for the nutgrass to go. I'm starting to question even my pre-emergence. A lot of it's probably starting to form in just somewhat this fibrous canopy down here, and not even down in the soil. As you can see, it's a little bit unlike of what I've dealt with other parts of the country in the aspect of nutgrasses in your low saturated areas. I'm getting it up on high slopes, and again, we're in a more humid environment, a very, even on a arid day, the density of the growth rate of this plant out here in Hawaii in general is just a perfect atmosphere for weeds, because very difficult to dry out, and then we finally get down to our clay base, which also, if you dry it out too much, you know, you're going to have cracked soils and you're going to have real problems with localized dry spots. We're trying to rehydrate your clay. You know, when you're dealing with a 365-day-a-year daily fee, golf course is being able to do your follow-up apps and being able to have the timing of it with, you know, I have a fair staff level, but I don't have enough staff to get all the projects done that I want to do, you know, beyond just setting up the golf course and doing the particular, you know, planned cultural practices that we do. So there's never a good window, and there's never a dormant season to be able to attack some of the weed pressure out here.
Yeah.
You know, so many cases in other parts of the world, you have your season changes where you're going to go into dormancy, where you can go in and attack them with a little heavier shot of chemical, knowing that you're going to go dormant, or you're going to chemically spray out your cool season grass because you're going to have an overseed or you're going to transition. You know, here we're 365 a year, constant growth habit and extreme growth habit. So very big challenge in Hawaii with weed control.